You do this every week, all right? You have simple choices to make every day, multiple times a day. You can choose sexual immorality, impurity, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions. You can choose that, or you can choose love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. It's up to you. The Bible tells us it's going to be clear. What is not of the Lord is going to be clear. What is of the Lord is going to be clear. And it's not just that God likes it when you love one another. God is love. He doesn't want you to be at peace with everyone. God is peace. So choose those things every day. Just don't lose sight of it. Don't forget it. Don't start your day knowing it and then forget it the second you walk down the halls of your school. And don't live your whole day like that, and then right before you go to bed, be like, oh yeah, man, I didn't do that today. I'll get it tomorrow. This is clear. It's clear. Very clear path here. Very clear path here. And we just got to choose. What kingdom do we want to be a part of? Do we want to be a part of God's kingdom? Because there's a problem. If we're going down this road here, we cannot be a part of God's kingdom. And if we're going down this road right here, we're a part of God's kingdom. This is a good thing. And keep loving. Keep having joy. Keep this goodness and faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and peace among you brothers. If you're walking by the Spirit, keep in step with the Spirit. And if you're not, you can keep going down that route just as long as you know, we say it every week, the things of this, the world and its desires are passing away. But the man who does the will of God lives forever. So this is on the backdrop of what it is. And then in verse 26, it goes straight into that. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, and envying one another. Who's our reader over here? Duncan? Why don't you read 6, verses 1 and 2. 1 and 2 of chapter 6, starting with brothers.
Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in his spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you to be tempted. Bear one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
All right, that's good. What's that saying? Right. If you know what is right, do what is right. If you have someone who you love and you care about who's doing wrong, bring them back over to the right. If they're in pain and suffering and they're clouded and they can't see what they're doing and they're doing wrong, lift them up. Bear their burdens. And then bring them over to the light. Restore them back to the spirit of gentleness. And substitute any other fruit of the Spirit in that. Bring them back. Restore them back to love. Back to joy. Back to peace. Back to kindness. Back to all these things. Okay? Bear each other's burdens. Now, this table. Fasu, why don't you take 3 and go through 5. Starting with 4 if.
For if anyone thinks he is something, when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But let each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone, and not in the neighbor. For each will have to bear his own load.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, what's that saying? It's right there in the very beginning of it.
If you think you're something that you're not, you're ignorant.
If you think you're something you're not, first of all, let us disarm you of any illusions. If you think you're something you are not, you are a natural man. You are a sinful man. You are a creature who is going to die. Without Christ, without the Spirit, without God, that's who you are. Apart from God, we can do nothing. It tells us that in John 15. Romans 3 says there is not one who is righteous. Not even one. Isaiah talks about how, or Jeremiah, the heart is deceitful above all else and beyond cure. Isaiah says that if I have accomplished anything, God has done that for me. If you think you're something, let me just ease your mind. You are not. People get puffed up, they get conceited, and then they provoke one another with that. And then they don't want any help. This is coming in nature, bear one another's burdens. Say, if you're choosing this, if you're choosing to think you're something that you're not going to let anyone help you, and you're going to have to bury that load on your own. And you might think, I can handle that. Well, I'm just here to tell you that you're not. You can't handle that. You're going to need help. And you're going to need God. Now, KT, you're going to need Fasu. to help you. Now, Foster's not going to be able to save you, but he can bring you over. He can pull you over into what is right. He can get your attention. He can bear your burden with you. He can relate with you. He can bring you back to the light so that you can see God, and so that God will restore you. And then you'll have someone to bear your burden here, and you won't be on your own. And then you'll choose Jesus, and Jesus will take your load for the long haul. You don't have to worry about your sin. Maybe remember when we had those chairs lined up here the other week?
Yeah.
Right? God doesn't see you for your sin. He sees Jesus, and he sees Jesus' arm around you. Jesus taking on your load, the load of sin, which leads to death. Jesus took that on. You get to share that load with Jesus. He takes it on. You can't. And then you get to enter into this eternal relationship with God. That is where you want to be. You don't want to be prideful and say, I don't need anyone's help. I've got this on my own. I love the way it says it here. But let each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone. When you look at what you can really accomplish, if you take a good look at who you are, you can't be prideful. Now, you might be a better basketball player. You might be better in the classroom. You might be better with the ladies. You might have a better skill, right? And you might puff up because you're going to focus on those. KT just said that's all three of those are me when you turned around and did this. But you're going to think that you've got that, all right? And you know what? You might have it compared to the people in this room. And you might have it to a certain degree, but if you take a look at who you are really, holistically, not just the skills that you have a desperate need for God. You are a creature who is prone to sin, which leads to death. And that person, speaking from death, how can you be prideful? Y'all are healthy right now. Most of you are. When y'all get older, where's your health going to go? Where's your pride going to go at that point? Right? Yeah. Maybe that's the reason that so many people start turning to Jesus when they get old and they have to recognize their mortality and they're looking at death right in the face being like, what's going to be next? And some people will still hold on to their pride. They won't let anyone help take them over. Let anyone help them see the light. They're going to hold that all the way and bear their load all the way to death, which is led by sin, which ultimately, if you don't take the free gift of God and His Son, Jesus Christ, is going to be in eternity without God. So, if you look at yourself, who you really are, you can't be prideful. You should be humbled. You will be humbled if you really see yourself for who you are. And if you really see God for who God is, you can't be prideful. If you really see God for who God is, and put yourself up against that comparison, instead of the comparison of the guys in this room, though there are some impressive people in here. If you compare yourself to God, if you look at who God is, really who God is, you will be humbled. It's just a question of when are you going to recognize that? And what are you going to do about it? All right, I'm going to stop there. Sorry to let you read, but I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to hit that point, and just close with that. I mean, I could talk all night. I typically talk for a long time, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight because I'm going to bring it to the point. I'm going to give you guys a challenge. This is your challenge today. Bear one another's burdens. Help one another out. And sometimes that's going to come in the form of saying, KT, really, I'm seeing some prideful things in you. Have you considered God? I'm seeing this sin. I'm seeing you know, on Tuesday nights when you're with Brian, I'm seeing one person in the halls at school. I'm seeing another person. Let me restore you. Let me help you. Let me bring you back to this true love relationship with God instead of this counterfeit love as you're chasing these girls around school all day long. Terrence, let me help you out. Man, I know you're carrying this heavy burden. Let me share that load. Tell me what's going on. What's going on in your life? And how do you feel? How does that make you feel? I mean, you got a smile that's worth $1 million. What's behind that? I mean, are you smiling because you're happy? Are you smiling because you're covering over something? Hey, but I'm serious. So why haven't I seen that smile in a while? Are you okay? Let me bear that burden with you. You know, Duncan, let me help you. Let me bring you over and back into this thing called gentleness. You know, we've been reading the Bible. Brian showed us this verse, and Bud read it for us. It talks about gentleness. I haven't seen you be very gentle in your interaction with us, with me even. If you're the one receiving the offense, you can still be the one to bear that burden. Just go and talk to him and fix it and write it at the person. Don't hold a grudge, and then all this stuff, all of a sudden it festers and it builds up, and then it comes out and y'all start yelling at each other when you're talking about who the best basketball player who's ever played a game is. You know? But guys, go ahead. Okay. But guys, listen up. This is what I want you guys to do. Y'all are around each other all the time. Hey guys, listen up, listen up. I'm landing the plane right now. You guys are around each other all the time. And there are some people in this room that are listening and some people who aren't. Okay? And the people who are listening, and the people who aren't, hopefully some of this stuff is sinking in. With what sinks in, I want you to take that. I want you to own that, and I want you to take that with you. And the people who are absorbing the whole thing, take it with you. And use it to build one another up. Share each other's burdens. Build one another up. Show them the light. Bring them back to this side. Have them recognize, if they can't see it for themselves, look, these things, look, it's right here in Galatians 5. These are the things that it says are clear that are not of God. And you're doing 9 out of 10 of these things. You know, I mean, and don't attack. And if someone is coming to you with this, know that they're coming to you out of love and they want to help. And consider it, because you were in this room tonight too. So bear one another's burdens. Help one another out. And know that there's a lot more than just rubbing shoulders with each other on the basketball court. There's a lot more fraternity that comes with oh wow, everyone at this table thinks that LeBron is the best. So we've got this special brotherhood. We've got this special bond that's built around someone that we don't even know and an opinion that we have. Why don't we build this special bond around the truth? Y'all hear me? Build your special bond around the truth of God, the gospel of grace, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the ministry of the Holy Spirit. Build your bond around that. And that will be the solid rock, the solid foundation. Anything else is going to shift. Okay? That's the challenge this week. Bear one another's burdens, bear each other's burdens. And maybe where Duncan was going with this earlier was, I think he said something about the van ride home. Let's put this into practice at the end of the van ride home. All right? I know that may be hard because it seems like we're going back to our reality and back to our situation and back to where we are 99% of the time when we are one way that is different than how we are here. Let's just be consistent. Let's be who we are, and let's have that person be rooted in the truth of God. Can we do that? Y'all have any questions? Bear one another's burdens. Now, another challenge for you guys this week. Go home. Read the Bible. Read Galatians 5:16 all the way through 6:5. Or don't stop there. You can keep reading if you want to. But be reminded. Read the end of Galatians 5 where it talks about what is clearly wrong, what is clearly right, and what your response should be to build one another up in love. If you recognize what is good and true of God, share that. If you are recognizing things that are not of God, and that is a brother of yours, brother in Christ. I mean, everyone in this room, I mean, there's a lot of people claiming Christ in this room. I wonder how many people are acting like it. And we don't have to act like Christ in order to be a Christian. We just have to recognize that we need Christ to be a Christian, right? I'm not saying everyone needs to walk out of here and be perfect, but I'm saying let's bear one another's burdens and let's get each other on the right track. Let's share this special bond that is founded in who God is, what He can do, what He's done for us. And then, hey, by the way, we've got stuff in common. We're in the same school. We're in the same class. Coming to the same deal on Tuesdays. We love each other. And it's okay for you guys to say that. Care about each other. We want the best for each other. All right? All right, let's